All right, so as of I have just hit over 2,000 views on this channel. It's been about 5.5 weeks. 5.5 weeks, and I've hit over 2,000 views. But the thing is that in the first 8 days, because I opened this channel on February 27th, in the first 8 days, I hit 1,800 views. And for some reason, after that, it took a whole month to get over 2,000, which is just like 200 views, which is funny. But I don't. I mean, it's a big thing, all right. And anyways, the topic I want to talk about is that as of I think it was today. It was today that I got one comment on my video where I was throwing up the pitchfork at night. And the comment was by a name like Beyazaduddin, some kind of a weird name. I didn't know what it was about, so I click on the channel to find out who this is, and there's no videos, no pictures, no playlist, no like videos, no nothing. You know what I mean? I'm like, who is this person? And they post like I didn't know. Within an hour, within I think 20 minutes or an hour, I get another post from another account, then another account, then another account. And all four different channels are posting on I think it was 2 nights ago where I threw the pitchfork up at night. And there's it looks appears to be a female's name as well. Again, I call them zero accounts because they have no videos, no pictures, no playlist or anything. And by the way, I'll try to get some playlists on. I'll try to get a playlist or two on, or whatnot. But after this, I'll put up a playlist so I don't look like whatever it is. Anyways, somebody asked like, "Am I good?" or something like that, and that was the female name. Now it's a zero account, so I'm not gonna reply to it really, but I thought maybe there should be some kind of explanation. And again, the name sounds like an Islamic name. And I'm not sure if the Islamic world really has any concept of anything to do with gangs, to be honest. The only gang that anybody knows that's Islamic today, in the modern day, is ISIS, which is an Islamic State. And they believe in suicide bombings and even in the West, like even in Christian countries, they believe in suicide bombings. I believe Charlie Hebdo was killed by ISIS, assassinated at his headquarters in Paris, France, at his building, and the entire Anyways, I don't want to get into that, okay? But that's the only gang that I know that has anything to do with Islam because it's called Islamic State. But anyways, I'll move on. But these comments kind of thought all these comments were on the same video, and the video is like 20 seconds long. It's just nighttime and me throwing up the pitchfork for the disciple. So I thought, you know what I thought? I thought, well, look, I live in Toronto, Canada, okay, and or the Greater Toronto area or whatnot. And the thing is that I've talked about how we don't have an organized crime presence to the likes of the United States. We have nothing like it. We have nothing like it, okay? There is nothing like that. Now, in Toronto is kind of I'd say way low down when it comes to any kind of gangs. But Vancouver, for example, which is all the way in the west, in a province called British Columbia, and everybody knows about Vancouver. Vancouver, I've seen triads and all this stuff. Vancouver has a big gang thing going on. Montreal has a huge gang thing going on. Montreal has a big gang thing going on. Montreal is a very lively place. They have all kinds of nightclubs. The nightclubs there are crazy. They got way more nightclubs than Toronto, and their nightclubs are absolutely insane. They're nuts. A lot of parties go down in Montreal, and there is a lot of gang presence there. In Vancouver, there's a lot of money, period. Everything in Vancouver is super expensive. Even like anything you buy, convenience store, grocery store, doesn't matter. Everything in Vancouver is expensive, and very expensive. You have a lot of people. I'd say people in general are much wealthier in Vancouver than Toronto. Montreal, I don't know, but I know that it's a big party place, right? And there's a big gang presence in Montreal as well. Now, when it comes to like Toronto or Southern Ontario, there's not much gangs at all. There's a lot of queer gangs, which are based around LGBTQ, which is basically homosexual gangs. There's a lot of homosexual gangs. I would say there's more homosexual gangs in Toronto, Canada, than maybe anywhere in the world. This is really the homeland of gay gangs or homosexual gangs. You wouldn't believe how many homosexual gangs, like gangs that are specifically homosexual, street gangs and stuff, that are actually homosexual, which is crazy. Other than that, there's not much of a gang presence in the greater Toronto area. But I'll tell you, I mean, yeah, I showed. So I have my document, my actual court document about how I robbed that bank. But I'll tell you, literally, I haven't been far. I went to a gym. Okay, I went to a gym, and I'm not even lying. 2 months later, it came out on the news. Okay, 2 months later, there was a full patch Hells Angels member who went to that gym, and he came out in the parking lot, and two guys shot him to death. And were later sent to court. They got arrested. They went to court, and I don't know what happened with their situation. But I will tell you that I literally went to that gym a few times. I went a few times, but literally like a month. That summer I went in the summer, and that same summer or at the end of the summer there was a full patch Hells Angels member who went in that gym. It was a boxing gym. He went in that gym. He came out in the parking lot and he was shot to death. And they put it in the article that he was in his 30s and he was a full patch Hells Angels. If you don't know what Hells Angels are, they are the biggest biker gang in North America. They also exist in Germany, parts of Europe and things like that. But they are supposed to be one of the most dominant gangs in North America as a whole. They're active in the States, in Canada, everywhere. And they are very scary guys. They have they're quite serious. People don't like to fuck around with them. They're quite established, right? We are supposed to have some kind of Italian mafia thing going on in the GTA that I know of, and that's organized. But yeah, we have some. I don't know anything about it. I've never really. There's been documentaries that have come out on the Hells Angels, obviously. And they are quite active in Montreal, by the way. But there is no documentaries on what do you call it? What was I talking on Italian mafia in Canada? Okay, I haven't seen any documentaries on that. But I do know that the Italian community is very well established. I also know that when the Italians first came to Ontario or Southern Ontario as immigrants, that they were called guineas by the Canadians. The Canadians who had already been the British and French or whatever that, I don't know about French, but the British that had been living here or for generations of Canadians, they called them guineas, and there was a lot of racism against them. Fast forward to today, there are Italians in the police and in the government. Okay, so I was actually talking about their community earlier in the video. One of the communities, even the Irish, I was talking about the Irish. I didn't name them, but I was talking about European immigrants. I was talking about Italians and Irish. Specifically, Irish kind of have some kind of gang activity going on. If you watch Town, which was on the Irish gang, Robin Banks, they don't really have official organized crime. They just kind of have groups that hang out together. And, they may engage in criminal activity to earn money or for whatever it is, but they're not typically organized crime. But I will tell you, I know nothing about the Italian gangs in Canada. I've never seen anything on it. There has been Italian gang stuff up since Al Capone and all that stuff. They're very infamous when it comes to organized crime. There's a bunch of movies that are based on reality, like Goodfellas and Casino. And everybody knows about that, but nobody knows about what the Italian organized crime happens in Canada. Nobody knows about it. Nobody talks about it. I have zero information on that. To continue on, so I did throw that pitchfork up. That pitchfork is for specifically it's used for three particular gangs that are quite active in Chicago. It's the Satan Disciples, the Maniac Latin Disciples, and the Gangster Disciples. Okay, these three are all part of Folk Nation, right? Folk Nation got created because there's a lot of Latin kings in Chicago, and there's a lot of. I think the Latin Kings started from New York though, but there's a lot of Latin Kings in Chicago. Okay, Latin Kings outnumbered these guys like crazy. Okay, the Satan disciples were like 1-9 in the prison or the jails. In jail, Satan disciples were outnumbered like 1-9 by the Latin Kings. That's why they decided to create one large organization, which they call Folk Nation, just so they wouldn't be outnumbered. Even though, there are different organizations and gangs, they didn't want to become outnumbered by the Latin Kings. So they created this Folk Nation, which was one group, which includes other gangs in there too. All right, moving on. What I guess? Oh, so all three of these disciples, they have a disciple sign. This is a pitchfork, right? And they'll throw it up in different ways. And what else? They throw the pitchfork up. They typically use the 6-point star. The 6-point star is also known as the Star of David, which is the flag of Israel. The 6-point star is on the flag of Israel. Now, I don't know what kind of Jewish representation, I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that all these disciple organizations use the 6-point star. Okay, that is the Star of David, but I don't know anything. I just know that they use it. Okay, if you want to ask me if there's any what I've seen or anything like personally over here in Toronto, talking about Toronto. Well, I threw up a video that was about the week into when I opened the channel, and there was graffiti not far from, there was graffiti and someone had just thrown up graffiti, and that was after I put all the Saint Disciple stuff up on my channel, and there was graffiti right there. It was in white, but it said SD, and then it had a 5-point star under it, right? So the 5-point star is the Star of Satan. Right, so they put the Star of Satan under the SD so that it wouldn't be confused, and someone would say, well, that's sticking too deep or something stupid, you know what I mean? So they had the actual 5-point star, which would clarify that it is the Satan disciples. So that's the first time that I've seen graffiti of any disciple gang anywhere in the Greater Toronto area, and it was really cool to see that. I posted it up. It's still up on my channel. If you have any questions that have already been answered from me, it's on my channel. I'm starting to get a lot of comments from people. So I thought I would talk about this. But I'll kind of go on with this. And hold on. I'll start the next video. Hold on.